Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend the Senate's regular order of business to take up and consider Senate Bill 2880, committee substitute. Senators, this bill deals with drugs that are illegal to be shipped into Texas for their intended purpose today. It's often euphemistically referred to as medication abortion. This is a procedure, and I'll ask your indulgence as I describe what this is about. Medication abortion is a procedure that involves ingesting 2 prescription drugs to abort an unborn child: mifepristone and misoprostol. Together, these drugs are referred to as the abortion pill. Among reported abortions in the United States, 653,940 little unborn babies' lives were ended by abortion drugs in 2024. Since approval in the year 2000, medication abortion has increased rapidly and now accounts for approximately 2/3 of all abortions. I want to stress this. The FDA recommends the drugs not be purchased online. That's current FDA recommendations. Abortion drugs create complications for pregnant mothers, particularly when the FDA's safety guidance is ignored. So what medications are we describing, and how do they work? We'll try to describe this as dispassionately and mechanically as we can. The first drug in the abortion regimen, mifepristone, causes the lining of the uterus to thin and keeps essential nutrients from going to the little baby who's developing inside her mother's womb. And this causes the little unborn baby to die in most cases. The second drug, misoprostol, is recommended to be given 24 to 48 hours later. And this pill causes the mom's uterus to contract and the cervix to soften so that the dead child can be expelled, and also the related pregnancy tissue. Misoprostol induces early labor. Now, there's been testimony before the House and the Senate from moms who have used these drugs, and their voices need to be heard. Their voices must be heard in this process. But I want to stress, the FDA does not recommend buying mifepristone online. Yet we know that 2,800 known abortion drugs are shipped into Texas each month. Now, I want to make sure that we're clear on the FDA's risk evaluation and mitigation strategy for abortion drugs. In 2000, mifepristone only gained approval under the restrictive risk evaluation and mitigation strategy regulatory scheme. This is by the FDA. Drug safety program that they can use for certain medications with serious safety concerns. Those of you that work in these matters know what we're talking about. That helps ensure the benefits of the medication outweigh its risks. But those safeguards that were put in place by the FDA haven't just been weakened. They've virtually been abandoned. Let me be specific about this, lest you think I'm generalizing. In the year 2000, when initially approved, for the mom's own safety, 3 in-person visits were required, and the drugs could be prescribed only by a physician. And it had to be dispensed and taken in the doctor's office, and a follow-up visit was required. And most importantly, it was required that adverse effects be reported. In 2016, the number of required in-person visits was reduced from 3 to 1. So even in 2016, 1 in-person visit required. What happened in 2023? No in-person visits at all. Without studying the impact to women, without the requirements that the drug be prescribed by a doctor, dispensed and taken in the office, and without a follow-up visit and reporting of adverse effects. All those gone now. And even with those stringent restrictions in place, women and girls still experience severe injury to their physical and, yes, their mental health as a direct result of medication abortion. And worse yet, women are often not adequately warned, not apprised of the risks or what they'll experience during their abortions. Women who are not given complete information about the medication abortion procedure obviously cannot grant informed consent. It's got to be informed. Now the entire abortion process can take place without any physician interaction or oversight, leaving women without medical care and alone to have their abortions. Keep in mind, this reckless abandonment of the original FDA safeguards has coincided with an exponential increase in the incidence of medication abortions, now accounting for about 2/3 of all abortions. So what complications are we talking about? Medication abortion physically harms women, yes, even causing death. According to the FDA, mifepristone has caused 36 known deaths since its approval. And despite the serious risks associated with this drug, the FDA only requires deaths to be reported. Physicians are not required to report other serious adverse events. And for this reason, the rate of severe complications from these drugs go unreported, and the FDA data is incomplete. But thankfully, just in recent days, the Ethics and Public Policy Center conducted the largest known U.S. study of abortion pill data. They used data from the All-Payer Insurance Claims database. We're familiar with that. This is information based on insurance claims for health insurance. They used information from the All-Payer Insurance Claims database that includes 865,000 prescribed mifepristone abortions from 2017 to 2023. You know what they found? Almost 11% of women experienced sepsis, infection, hemorrhaging, or another serious adverse event within 45 days following a mifepristone abortion. The real-world rate of serious adverse events following mifepristone abortions is at least 22 times as high as the summary figure of less than 0.5% in clinical trials reported by the FDA. The FDA should immediately reinstate earlier, stronger patient safety protocols to make sure at least the best circumstances available would be there. But that's not happening, nor is the FDA investigating the harm. And I don't have to tell this Senate or the Health Committee or the folks watching about the growing concern in this country about the FDA and about Big Pharma and about the power they have and the effect it's having on the lives of Americans. This may be the worst, the most acute example of that. Another recent study affirms that mifepristone causes more complications than the FDA data suggests. In fact, it found the rate of abortion-related emergency room visits, so ER visits following a mom who's taken these drugs and left alone, those ER visits following medication abortions increased 5 times from 2002 through 2015. The study also told us that 60% of these emergency room visits were miscoded as spontaneous miscarriages. And when we compare that data on these abortion pills and what they do, when we compare that to a surgical or a medical abortion, women who underwent this chemical abortion were at a 53% greater risk of visiting the ER for an abortion-related reason. These are the pills that are being mailed into Texas directly to women, often without instructions, certainly without doctor's visits before and without follow-up care after. This is illegal in Texas, but it's taking place, and we've thus far not been able to protect women from these. We also know from other countries. A study from Finland showed that medication abortion leads to more complications than surgical abortion. That study found adverse events in women who underwent medication abortions were nearly 4 times higher, 20% for the abortion pill versus 5.6% for surgical abortions. They experienced a higher rate of hemorrhage, higher rates of incomplete abortion, and unplanned surgical evacuations. These clinical medical terms tell us what? It tells us that women are being harmed, women are being hurt by these pills. And even in Canada, a study suggests that medication abortions in the first trimester leads to more adverse events than surgical abortion. Now, senators, and if you'll allow me, and for those watching, I'm going to share with you just a few testimonies of moms who've been through this process and what they said about their experience. These mail order abortions leave women in the dark about their abortions. And that leaves them with fear and uncertainty. And they've talked about sadness and regret and pain that can be devastating. Many women did not know, forgive me, senators, many women have said they did not know that when they took these pills, they would see the remains of their child, or they'd experience significant pain and bleeding. Abortion providers also consistently fail to inform these women to seek help if a complication arises. It's often pregnancy resource centers who serve these moms who weren't given accurate information about the medication abortion and its risks, and they see firsthand how women become living victims of this industry. Abortion providers are reported to have minimized concerns or side effects and telling women it's an, quote, easy process with quick recovery, like taking over-the-counter meds. No one will know. Or as one study found, even material misrepresentations. It's just a pill. If you by chance are in pain, some women expressed they were told by the abortion provider that it is as easy as taking Advil. Many women report they were not told about seeing fetal remains. There's difficult testimony which I will not share at this time, but I hope it's clear that when moms receive these pills in the mail, often with little or no instruction, if a mom is experiencing an ectopic pregnancy, she's in great danger taking these pills, but of course no doctor visit is required today. If a mom is too far along in her pregnancy, the little baby inside her, the little baby has grown so large, these drugs will not work in their intended way. And again, serious harm or even death to the mom. And we can talk more about some of these testimonies. They're difficult to read. They're difficult to hear. But these women, their voices need to be heard as well. We also have spent increasing time and attention in this chamber and in this building on issues like human trafficking and women being exploited. And abortion, we know, is often used as a tool for human trafficking, for abuse. Online access to medication abortions increases the availability of these pills to predators, to abusive parents and partners, as well as human traffickers. I'm sure you've read about these stories, but male partners who use abortion-causing medication to kill their unborn children covertly is increasing in prevalence. I know you read about the case. A man here in Texas is today under felony indictment for attempting to poison his pregnant wife on multiple occasions, giving her these abortion drugs without her knowledge and, of course, without her consent. There are stories I can cite to you where abusers have spiked their partners' water, drinks, yes, pancakes and smoothies with abortion pills, or even forced moms to take these pills at gunpoint. It's also well documented that forced abortions already occur in human trafficking, and abortion pills are convenient tools for traffickers. Those in-person dispensing requirements serve an important gatekeeping function because they ensure abortion drug recipients voluntarily receive medication abortion themselves. And mail orders made it much easier for abusers and criminals to access abortion-causing drugs and to continue perpetrating their crimes, yes, even forced abortions. So what does Senate Bill 2880 do about all that? This bill protects women from abortion pills. The bill would prohibit the manufacturing or distribution of abortion pills in Texas and would ban the mailing, transporting, delivering, prescribing, or providing of abortion pills. Enforcement is done through a civil qui tam lawsuit brought by a private citizen in the name of the state. What does it do beyond that? It imposes wrongful death liability. When companies send these pills into Texas to take the lives of little unborn babies and to recklessly or intentionally harm women, they'll be held accountable. It imposes strict liability for wrongful death and personal injuries on anyone who manufactures, distributes, mails, transports, delivers, prescribes, or provides these abortion pills, including wrongful death of the unborn child. Either parent of the aborted child may sue for wrongful death But of course, a rapist is unable to bring any action under this bill. They're to be punished. They get no help and no standing under this bill. It also allows the Attorney General to bring parens patriae actions to sue on behalf of the unborn. You know what parens patriae means? Y'all can all pronounce that better than I can. You know what that means? It means acting as a legal protector of the citizens unable to protect themselves. Doesn't that make sense? Those little unborn babies and those moms who've been lied to, who haven't been told the truth, who are scared and alone dealing with these pills in most cases. They need someone to protect themselves when they can't, in those situations when they can't. That's what the bill does. I want to stress this is civil liability against those manufacturers and distributors. This is not criminal liability. There's nothing here that has any effect or would put any burden on the moms. The moms are victims here. We know that. The moms are victims here. That's what the bill does. I ask your indulgence and for the lengthy motion to suspend. I wanted you to know what was in the bill, and with that, I move suspension of the regular order of business.